stipulation was that I had to do everything myself, the way the old school rodders did it. I couldn't go out and buy hoods, and I couldn't buy ground effects and stuff. You want it, you make it.
Welcome back, guys and girls, to another episode of Dad's Toy Garage, and we got something really unique in this video. We're going to be featuring two guys and their cars, and this goes back a long ways for these guys. We got my dad over here, Rick, and Brian over here, and these guys have been friends for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our teenage years.
Yeah. You know, like there's a song by a couple of guys, and it goes something like bookends, and then you get this park bench, and you got these two guys in the end. That'd be us.
Nice. We got two cool cars and two cool guys to show you what's going on here. So you guys both had these cars a long time ago already, hey? Like these exact cars or ones like it?
These were the exact.
These are the cars. I bought mine right after graduation. After grade 12 graduation, I bought mine.
Nice.
And my story's exactly the same.
So
I bought it at a local garage, sitting the third row deep, and it said had my name all over it. I said, that's the one.
we'll start with my dad, Rick. Why don't you give us history on this car with you, and then let Brian give it a shot there.
Well, the history starts long before I bought the car. It started with a '59 Beetle, and for some reason we had an issue with other people, and the car didn't go fast enough to cover what it was supposed to do. So we said no more of that, and I said my next car has to be something that's got some performance under the hood. And so there was another stepping stone, but this is where we ended up. And I bought it from a local dealer. We worked in the same place, obviously. Brian did much work on it. It wasn't always driving straight.
We had a little dog track issue there.
And
Did it help working in a tire shop?
oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
We had the
Tires
best-
got replaced regularly. And off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I graduated that year and dated mom through high school, obviously, and we got married in '79, so we figured it was time to trade it up. And that was the time when things were just, the gas prices were crazy. Muscle car didn't mean anything like it does now, right? Like it was, I couldn't give the car away. I just literally, I had it in Winnipeg at my uncle's shop, I had it in town, and I finally ended up selling it to a kid. And I took another truck and trade and a little bit of cash, so that deal was done. But yeah, we had lots of, we would meet, I don't know with you guys, Saturday morning at the car wash or Sunday morning after church. That would be our regular get together. Everybody clean up the cars and go pick up the girls. I don't know if we were at the Gumball Rally at the Morden Theater, and this is one of those where everybody gets revved up, and we had about half an hour drive. So, and I'm sitting there and I'm driving, and I see in the mirror, I see these headlights passing everything in sight, and I said, the buck stops here. And he tried, and I just sped up. He slowed down. He tried all the way back. He says, if you're watching this, it was me, okay? I have no idea who you were, but it was amazing.
It was probably me.
Yeah. No, it was. We had a lot of fun with the car. And you know, since we had it built now, we got back into these things. I think a lot of it is when you go to the car shows, the guys always say, man, I had one like that. My dad had one like that. And really, guys, I think what it really means is it takes somebody back to a time and a place in their life.
Yep.
And that is, and I think that for the most people that would see these cars, I mean, we're still living it. I mean, it's so cool. But, I sold that car off, and I sold it to a young guy, and he literally trashed it. I met him a few times at some car shows, and the stories he just told me, I just shivered. I said, you did what with that car? And anyway, it ended up at the auto record. It stood there for 10 years on top of another car. And you guys were very small at the time. I was working on a 46 Chevy Coupe, looking for parts. And the owner of this this wrecker was a good friend of mine. And I knew the car was there, and one day I had you guys along. And we were walking by there, and I said, hey, that's my car up there. And I remember you said, really? Dad, you could fix that. And I said, hello? And I said, well, you know. So I talked to the guy there, and I said, bring it to my place. How much you want it? Oh, $500. Okay.
Back then that was a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. He said, no, I'm building some go-karts. Paint up 5 go-karts for me and she's yours. I said, okay. Brought it back to the shop. You guys, I've never intended in fixing this car. I always figured it's just there for you guys to bang around on yet. And I looked at it, I said, I think there's life in that. And we totally, it took what, 5 years? So we had it all over sandblast. We did the whole pack, like, that car is built well. It's done correctly. And I know that, I think you've taken a picture of the appraisals and that kind of stuff. And now your guy said the same. The nicest Nova I've seen is, how do you put it? It's a feather in your cap. Because,
Yep.
you know, it's, how's that? Is it fun or what?
And back then, nobody was building Novas. They've become popular after that point, right?
Right now, the guy was saying that they're hard to find. It's a 70. It's the best year, he said. And they're getting harder and harder to find, which is driving the value of that car quite high.
Smells like rubber.
As far as the Nova goes, when I picked it originally, it was a nice car. I was a Dodge man. Hey guys, I'll say it.
That's where I get it from.
Yeah. But, you know, we fall in love with them.
Yeah.
And the cars create history. We dated in a car. We sold it. I got it back. You guys dated in that car. You guys used it for the grad car. You guys used it for your wedding car. That car has got so much history in it. And now me and Mom are back in this car again. It's crazy. For us, there's a lot of memories in that car. And you will have the same thing. And we're not sure one day what we're going to have to do with this thing because there are 3 of you guys. It's kind of hard to divide the 3 ways. But yeah, that's where it's at.
Front, middle, rear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do wall hanging with it then.
Yeah.
Just
Maybe
cut it
not,
3
huh?
ways. Hey Brian, you want to tell me a little bit about some of the stuff on your car here?
Sure, I'd be happy to say a few things about it. It kind of all started with the rear wing. Put that together out of some sheet metal and made some fiberglass parts and formed them together. And as I was doing that, I realized that I really didn't like the seam here at all, from the quarter panel to the taillight panel. So I Frenched that. Then I realized that, well, it really needed a hood. So I started mudding up on top of the original hood. I just put mud down and sheet metal until I kind of had a shape like I wanted. Built a mold from that and built the hood. And as I was doing that, I knew that I had to French these pieces as well too, because that was just taking away from the look of the hood. As that went along, I also knew that I had to have a front spoiler on it. So I took some foam and shaped it until I had the design that I wanted. Built a part off that plug actually. I still have the plug hanging on the wall. One thing led to another, so I knew that I had to also build the ground effects on it. So I actually took the original piece of chrome, turned it upside down, added a piece of wood to the bottom of it, shaped it a little bit, put a complementary C-scoop in there, same as the door. It's kind of where it went. It was just one thing after another. It wasn't a complete vision straight off. It took me many years too.
You had this on the build for quite a few years, eh? This car?
Well, it's never ended.
It never ended. That sounds about right.
I started it in '96, and I think I only licensed it in 16, no, probably in about 15 or so, maybe 14.
That's the day you came into the car show. I said, oh, it's on the road.
Yeah, and I had painted it myself first, and Rick here, he says, Brian, it's this close. Let's make it nice. So then,
Are you talking to, I might know how to paint?
so then Rick painted it, and we made a few changes to the color.
It's gorgeous.
We went to a jet black, added the
Ghost stripes.
ghost stripes to it, and then I also cut the bumper so that it fit in there a little better. Then after all was said and done, I decided, well, I didn't like the license plate up front, so I opened up the grille in the bottom a little bit. Well, that was before I painted it. That was just before you painted it.
Yeah. The hood you wanted a certain height on there, right?
I wanted a cowl induction style hood, and you could only buy a 2-inch or a 4-inch. I wanted a 3-inch, and I also wanted it a little longer to give it a little bit more of a grr attitude. I added 1.25 inches to it, so I've got the mold for it. There's one hood like this, it's this one. A lot of the things, even the seats, I bought seats and hand built until they fit me. Having had some back issues, I decided that I wanted it to fit me. And that's not ended either, because this winter I'm taking them apart again and putting different headrests on. So yeah, I mean, originally bought this car when I was 18. It was 6 years old.
Oh, that's
It was originally a honey gold with a white vinyl top
Nice.
and a gold interior. And then I stripped it all down, had it painted dark chocolate brown with a white vinyl top. And then I sold it to a guy, and it became copper with a dark chocolate. And then I bought it back and changed the color again. Now this is actually the 5th color on it already. So
Wasn't this a birthday present?
actually, this was a birthday present.
Did somebody tell your wife that maybe she should buy it and give it to you for a birthday present?
So Rick here talks my wife into saying, you know, this would make an excellent 40th birthday gift.
How old are you now?
I am 64.
Get very long.
So it wasn't that I had the whole thing in mind, but when I started it, it was pretty trashed. And I kind of, before I agreed to buy it, decided that I'd probably want to do something a little different from the '68 Mustang that it was.
This is the same one you had, right?
This is the one,
Nice. VIN number matching to you.
to Brian.
Feel like when you had it back in the day?
It's so different. It does and it doesn't. It was a 289, it's a 347 now.
Oh, nice. That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it hooks up. Like it just,
It doesn't want to spin as much, eh?
no.
Just go.
I did a little bit of suspension work on it.
It's amazing what that does though, hey?
Yeah, I've got my track bars on really tight, and then I put a pan hard in there, and
Yeah.
that just settled everything down. It pulls the shocks up pretty good.
Nice, nice.
I actually drag raced a 67 Chevelle a couple of weeks ago.
You beat him?
Yeah. No, I bought mine, like I said earlier, right after high school. I didn't even have a job. but somehow I scraped the money together and got it. And yeah, started going out, and me and Rick were friends, and we worked together in the tire shop here, and did a lot of things on each other's cars actually. And Rick painted my car now, which is just a nice, fantastic job that he did. And
For friend.
yeah, we've taken transmissions out a few times. Actually, we've taken transmissions out quite a few times. We've taken motors out. We've played on a lot of other cars too. 60 Pontiacs.
60
I had a
pounds.
62 Pontiac, two to hardtop.
Yeah, missed that car too.
Yeah, I painted that one. Then I bought the Mustang, and it was a C code 289, 3-speed standard, 2-barrel.
I was pretty impressed with that when you pulled up in that car. Like this first one, Sanding head. That's where you're going? So?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was honeygold.
Oh yeah.
It was actually only 6 years old at the time. The first thing I did was put a 4-barrel onto that 289, and that woke it up pretty good. Later on, I actually found out from the factory that car was actually kind of interesting in the engine build. It had a 302 block with small chamber 289 heads, and which gave it a bit more compression, and it went pretty good too. Second thing I did was headers.
It's a 3-speed originally.
It was a 3-speed. And then I did a build-up on another 289. I dropped a 271 horse 289 in there. And then I painted it dark brown. Oh yeah, we've been through lots. And then sold it. Got married, sold it.
Same story.
Like everybody else did.
That seems to be the reoccurring story.
I know. You get married, you sell your stuff, and then later on your wives realize that you're really not complete without them. So they make sure that you get them back, because they can't stand these whining little boys in the house all the time. The car was pretty trashed. I paid as much for it trashed when I bought it back as what I sold it for in the first place. And it was pretty mint when I sold it, actually. And thanks to Rick for the 40th birthday thing. So then made all kinds of mods to it again, as you'll see in the pictures and stuff, and we talked about it then on the walk around bits.
Yeah.
But yeah, life goes on and you do other things, and so it took me a lot of years to finish. Well, it's never finished, but it took me a lot of years from the time that I bought it and stripped it down, because, well, I had kids in school and kids in hockey and this work thing.
Yeah.
I always called it was my TV time. Instead of sitting and watching TV, I went and played on the car. And my work was quite demanding. It was kind of a stress reliever to come in here by myself, no phones, just...
And now the stress reliever is when you get back in.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, some guys burn rubber and stuff, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. You pay so much money for tires,
Tires are cheap.
and then somebody comes along and burns them down.
I think I saw your set of tires. I heard you guys were hanging out the other night.
Yeah.
They looked kind of like this in the middle,
Yeah, a
little bit cupped.
Well, the guy wanted to see what was under the hood, right? The motorcycle. Says,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna eat by a motorcycle.
So,
Oh, crazy.
yeah, the Nova moves. Yeah, we found out. It's good.
And actually, yeah, you talked about special order. The Nova had a special order too. Like it has everything short of the SS badges. In fact, I ordered the original. I have the original packaging you can get from GM itself,
Mm-hmm.
and it has every feature that was in that car. And that was a special order car. It's got the buckets. It's got the gauge package, the tack. It's got it's got a lot of things in there that should a regular car that wouldn't have.
Oh, it didn't. No, that's right.
It's kind of SS without the badging, right?
Yeah.
And because it may have been $20 back then, but that was huge money. It's some guy.
What's a guy
And so-
making on average back then?
In 1970, probably around $250 an hour.
Yeah, and you could have had big block for another $200. It's oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Now everybody's like, oh, I maybe should have ordered it, right?
Yeah.
But
That's good that there's these other cars though too, because even when we bought these things back, had my car ever been a 428 Cobra Jet,
Oh.
that I'd never been able to afford to buy it back. But this is a 68 and a half, my Mustang. The early 68s had rear quarter panel lights, and mine just had the reflectors. So, but it still had the 289, which is kind of interesting because midway through they also went to the 302. So I guess that's why the block was a 302 and the crank was a 302 and the heads were 289. But still just a little two-barrel.
So we both started out with 2 barrels. Eh?
Yeah, that's the other thing that's kind of interesting on your Nova. The way it came out, 4-speed and a factory 2-barrel.
But we fixed that quickly, didn't we?
Yeah, we fixed that. It didn't take long.
That was the cold air intake of the day, wasn't it?
No,
Change the
put a
carburetor.
4-barrel on.
Put a
Yeah.
4-barrel on.
It was a cast iron intake, and
Yeah.
I think it was also Rochester that we put on there.
Yeah.
I had an Offenhauser intake, Offenhauser 360, and a Holly, 600 Holly, instead of headers. And that was quite a bit of fun on a light car like that. The 279 gears were pretty long-legged, but that was good.
Hello. Hi. It sounds amazing. Those 302s, they sound good.
Anybody home? No, nobody. Nobody home.
So you think I should be in there with you guys?
It's your movie.
Yeah.
You're the boss.
Cool.
I've said that several times. I still mean it.
And then I'll do it right on the wheel. So just tire, just a pause here, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
See if I can hold on to the seat here.
Ready?
Yeah. Should pray a blessing on this camera though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you guys missed it. You didn't live through that muscle car era. It was like, for us, it was just old, just habit.
Now no, they're just
You
something to
you
be
hear the
ashamed.
stories of the guys with the Hemis, the $20 on the dash. When I'm taking off, you can get that. It's yours. You hear stories like that, and, you know, stories, right? But the muscle car era,
Yeah.
I can hear that 340 rumbling.
Oh, the
I can hear
340.
I can hear a Hemi. I can hear all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this was
That's
were
why
history.
they're so legendary now, right?
Yeah.
The stories are there and the history.
And then they had so much horsepower that they had to actually write them down where they couldn't insure them, right?
Well, they always did that for insurance. Yeah, they wrote them up for less horsepower than
I-
they probably
I
have.
remember hearing, watching a show or reading somewhere that 426 Hemi was a 500 horse
Yeah.
engine, but not marked that way.
It was 425. It was rated at 425 horsepower out of the box.
I was in
Yeah.
I was in a Cuda, and I could not believe it had that knife shifting hand.
Yeah.
That big boat of a car just gone, just attraction. It was such a beautiful thing. Like I said, a Dodge, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, Devin's heard me say it too. One day, 68 AMX. has to be, just because.
I'm always looking for you now online.
Yeah.
68 AMX, my favorite. Just,
I would say that if a 70 Dart Swinger fell into my lap,
the
I would
340?
not cry.
340?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, my problem was that I was a gearhead, obviously, starting at 14. And in high school, before we moved to Altona, every day I walked to school past the Chrysler dealer. And he had kids' cars there. And he had the Super Bs and
Oh man.
Cudas
GTX.
and GTXs. He had
Oh,
a
yeah.
yard full of stuff there. And man, did I love it. But I gotta say the sweet spot for me was the 340.
Yep.
A 340 Dart.
You could
was
hear them
light.
coming from a long
You
way.
could nail that sound immediately. 7,000 RPM easily.
They do 7, eh?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Yeah.
They were fast. They were so.
that's a 346 pack kind of car.
Oh, they came.
They came in 4-barrel,
Yeah.
Okay.
4-barrel and 6-pack. But I guess most of the fun I had was in the Mustang.
You've heard the story. That 60 Mustang, 60 Pontiac I had. It was a 6-cylinder, 261,
Yep,
and we put that 283 in there, and we left it with the gearing for the 6, right?
yep.
So a friend of mine, sorry, I know you know who you are, pulls up. I sold the car and I bought it back just because I don't know. And he comes by and he's in his Mustang, 70-somewhat Mustang, also 302. And he says, "Want to race that thing?" He says, "I just bought it. I'm serious. I just got it back." And oh, okay, let's go for it.
That thing didn't have a tight ball joint in it.
We went up. I showed you a quarter mile here, and we went up to the quarter mile there, and then another friend was in there, and says, "So we line up side by side." And he says, "On 3, we're gone." Okay, I had no idea. Pedal to the metal, and he said 3, clutch it up, and he just his jaw dropped. This big old 60 Pontiac is laying rubber from this here to the and he didn't catch me. I said, "How embarrassing is that?" Oh,
Yeah.
that-
Oh yeah, good times.
Good times. Yeah, and then I'm out, and the steering wheel, let's go. You said not a tight ball joint, so you keep it together.
Yeah, I know. You could turn that thing lock to lock and it would stay straight.
Oh, man.
So you gotta set the alignment right.
Well, we fixed that later.
Yeah.
We put ball joints in there and lined it up. I mean, you could never fix those cars. They were,
They always move.
oh, they were, yeah, they were boats. They were land yachts. I mean, you know.
Remember that time when the guy came in with a 67 Chevy Beaumont? 67, no, Chevy,
This is
Chevy
at
2.
your workplace?
Yeah, Chevy 2. And the whole front end was shot.
Yep, I bought it.
300,
No,
I
you
bought
bought it. You bought it.
$350. No, $200. And then a guy from Winkler that we knew came by. Was it a Monday? Or was it even a weekend? I made $200 in that car.
I know. And then,
I should have kept it.
yeah, and then he bought it. He says, "Yeah, but I don't like the motor in there." I said, "I got a 283 for you." So I put a 283 in there.
That's happened.
And I bought another Pontiac. I had a stack of Pontiacs. I bought cars just because I like 283s, and I changed it out to a 283.
Yeah, they're good engines. You couldn't do those things. They were
No.
just solid.
So that was fun. So I played a lot with 283s and 289s. That was my thing.
Yeah, this thing rumbles.
And I always wanted a 340, and I never got one. My life is not complete.
You know, there's 1, 2, 3 spots you could add one in here yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, but what we got now.
Yeah, I'm happy
There's,
with it.
there's not a car show we go to where somebody doesn't want to buy it. Where somebody says, "I want one." I was at a car show and a guy came with his son. And everybody else in the car is, "No, don't touch it, don't get close." I said, "Come on, people." I said, "Get in my car, sit in there," like this little kid. He's having a great time. He really is. And his dad just thanked me so much. I said, "Hey, it's not made of sugar.
Yep.
And probably I could fix it." But all that being said,
I'm sure we were harder on our cars today than what that kid was.
yeah, but he came consistently to see this car. And he is now in university becoming a doctor or whatever it is.
Oh, you still talk to him?
And these guys, he said, he still talks about that car. I said, "Guys, this is what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
it's a time and a place for these things. It's history in the making. That's what these things are. I mean, they're what? 50, they're 50 years old.
Yeah.
He was 52.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had your car on the road how long?
since I bought it, since I got it from the record.
Okay, give me a time frame. You
I
sold it,
bought-
bought it originally in the
I
70s.
bought it in 76, sold it 79, got married.
Okay,
And then now 1997, I picked it up again.
so in 96, 97, okay?
Yeah. And then in 2000, I licensed it. So it's been on the road for 20 years. And the guy that did the appraisal on it, he cannot believe it. He says, looks like it came out of the booth yesterday.
And how many it's in miles, because cars were miles per hour back then, so how many,
What did we just talk about? We put on
Over 40,000.
40,000. in
40,000 miles?
I built
That
that car
motor-
to drive it, guys.
Yeah.
I really did.
Okay, so now you tell me, you bought your car originally what year?
I bought it in 74, right after graduation, and I sold it, I believe, in 77, and bought it back in 96.
Oh, 1 year before me. 97.
This time frame is pretty close
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, but it's thanks to you anyway. So, and I didn't put it on the road. In the meantime, life happened, and our youngest son was into trucks, and so we redid a 71 F100 body off, and he wanted it ready for graduation, and so
No
we
pressure.
did it.
No pressure.
Well, yeah, we did it in about 3.5 years, something like that. But I mean, he had part-time jobs and school, and so did I, and so the Mustang didn't get a wrench turned on it during that time. A few other things happened. Bought and sold a few other things, and 2 jobs at the same time most of my life. So it was one of those things. When I bought it back, I had told myself it will not interfere with family life. So whatever the kids needed, playing hockey and other vacations, that was not part of it. So when I bought it, when I was thinking about buying it, then I was thinking, what do I want with a 68 Mustang? I had it, so I decided I would build it. I would do my own version of it, do a one-off, and the stipulation was that I had to do everything myself, the way the old school rodders did it. I couldn't go out and buy hoods, and I couldn't buy ground effects and stuff. You want it, you make
cool.
it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so I did all that. So that takes a lot of time to do that, because you have to get a picture in your head of what you want, and then you have to make it work and all the other things. And I touched on that in other places, but that's where the time kind of went too. Like, you're not necessarily physically always wrenching on a car, but when you're stopping and looking at it and just mulling things through your brain, you start getting a bit of a picture, and oh, what if this and what if that, and
I know that feeling. I'll sit in an hour and I'll look at that thing.
yeah,
What's next?
yeah, exactly,
It's always in the back of your brain, right?
yeah,
And you know, when you say you take inspiration from the hot rodders, when I'm in my shop building, well, those of you who are following my race car, Snake Charmer, or the other car, I look at Cubans. You watch some of those shows with
Right.
Cubans. They have nothing, they have to build it, so I figured, why buy the parts? On the Sleeka you can't buy parts, but why buy parts when you have the chance to build this from yourself? If those guys can do it, why shouldn't I be able to do it, you know? So
And while Devin's talking here, yeah, I do auto body. I've done all that. And I thought I taught him something, but he's already teaching me stuff, guys. He's long. See?
Wayne Gretzky.
and like back in the day, living at home as a kid, that's when this Nova came home. I don't remember how old I was, but
Well, there's a picture.
I got that picture. We'll pop that in there. But I don't know how old I was, but it was there. You know, like, we're always in the shop building cars. That's what we did. I think my brother into sports, right?
Yeah.
And hockey. I'm not a hockey guy, but I think we all take a bit of piece of our parents, right?
Yeah.
So I got the car end of it, but you know, I'm learning to like other things as we go along too. So yeah.
Yep, life is big, and there's no sense keeping it small.
Yeah.
You got a life to live, and so you need to live it.
And I think that we have no problem sharing where we stand. Family is important.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we will never back down from that.
Family and faith.
and faith.
Yeah.
Our faith is solid,
And
and it's we never embarrass to talk about that because we know where we stand, and there's a bigger picture. When this one's all over, we know about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to know that when my life's done, I know there's more to it
Yes.
than this. And you know, building cars is fun, but I'm learning, and you guys, you've talked about this with your build, families first, you know, so I'm learning to not always be in the shop all the time. I love being in the shop, but those kids are only going to be there one time. So as my son gets older, he'll be able to come in
Yeah.
the shop.
Look
you
at
know.
mine turned out.
So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
mine all flew the coop.
Yeah.
That's what happens when they get older. Oh boy. No, but it is good, and whatever your passion is, be it sports or something, some people it's acting. Whatever you do, you got to give her 100% because you get nowhere by just sitting and talking. Like what we're doing right now. Well, we're reminiscing, I guess.
Over pizza.
Over pizza,
Yeah.
yeah, regurgitating pizza. But yeah, I would just say that anybody, if you got a passion, and it doesn't matter if it's a car, and if it's a four-door Rambler or whatever, you'd be surprised at the cult following that anything old develops. So you see something that you may not be hot on the first time, you see it. Chances are you keep looking at it, you're going to find something about it that you like. I mean, I started off with a 62 Studebaker.
59 Beetle. Didn't need fourth gear, by the way. You burned more oil than gas.
Well, 5 cylinders.
while we're on the topic, my car would have been newer than your early one, the 86 200 SX.
I remember that one well.
And that one is probably, what, we built a 46 coupe with together. Well,
70
you worked and I played in the sanding dust. Then you built this car,
70 Chevelle. That
and then we had 70
well,
Chevelle
actually, the
Malibu.
70 and this one going at the same time, roughly.
Yeah, they were kind of simultaneously. And then I got a car, and you did that one for me while I went dating.
That was beautiful. that car turned out beautiful.
So that was a
I'm not
200
sure-
SX.
I'm not sure if you ever showed it, but you should.
Actually, I'll if I think of it, I'll put a link in the description. I have a video on that car as well. So.
Very nice.